On the latest episode of Getting to Know Jew, we speak with Jodi Perelmuter. Perelmuter is the new Family Life Education Director at the Jewish Family Services of Kansas City. So we talk about how she's approaching that role, what kind of support families need from the Jewish community right now, and her involvement in programs like PJ Library and B'nai Tzedek, which helps teens learn about philanthropy. Hi, Jodi. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you.
So tell us, how did you end up joining Jewish Family Services as the Family Life Education Director? What's the path that led you here into this particular work?
Great question. And I'm going to give you a lengthy answer because that's what I like to do. So you have the right person on the podcast today. So pretty much I'm still fairly new to Kansas City. I moved in the middle of the pandemic, 2020, with all four of my kids and my husband from Cincinnati, Ohio. And what seems like an unintentional move was actually quite planned out. I had the pleasure of visiting many different cities throughout the country, West Coast, East Coast, you name it. We probably toured it and it was really exciting. But when we came to Kansas City, there was something about it that checked all of our boxes. And the big one for me was it's a kind of small town with a big city opportunities. And the great thing about it is I really have a passion for leadership, especially in the Jewish community. And there was great opportunities for me in Kansas. So when the job opening, I was obviously looking for leadership opportunities and I saw a few things pop up. And then when the JFS position came, actually a friend of mine told me about it. I kind of jumped at it because it really is perfect for what I was hoping to do in the Kansas community.
And so can you explain a little bit of sort of Family Life Education Director? What exactly does that mean that you're doing?
So coming into this role, Susie Hurst, a woman who had been in this role for about 35 years, really paved the way to have a creative position where you are every day interacting with the community. So I think now stepping into that, like during a pandemic, things have changed so much from when that family life education position had really been created. So I have such an amazing opportunity to jump in and figure out what the needs are in the community, what organizations are looking for, what families are looking for, and sort of shape and mold it to what I find.
And so relatedly, on you speaking to different Jewish organizations and leaders to see what the needs are in the community, what have those conversations been like? And what have you learned so far about the issues that you want to address through JFS?
Really across the board, everyone is, feeling that there's a sense of heaviness, there's a sense of chaos. There's so many things going on that are out of our control. It's sort of like, how can we as a community, a Jewish community, come and support the families, support people, support students, support groups? What does that look like? So for family, parents with young kids, that might look like some parenting classes or support, just different ways to be social in a safe way, however people feel comfortable sort of doing that. On this past Sunday, was my first program. It was an awesome collaboration between some like the Jewish Federation of Kansas City, the JFS, PJ Library. They have a really interesting position called Jewish Experiences, which is a collab between the Federation and the J. There's just a whole bunch of people involved, the Rabbinic Association, and I took the lead with the family program. And it was really awesome to see, since JFS has such a wonderful mental health department. One of our family and child therapists came in and gave a presentation to the parents while the kids were playing. It was just such a cool time to see all these different age groups and parents learning and playing and connecting together. It was really great. So that was my first event under my belt that really checked a lot of boxes. And then I'm looking to get also into the young professionals, coming out with some cool volunteer opportunities for them to come into JFS. I have like a list that grows on the daily, and it's really exciting to see just how things grow. We just also had the community study, which was really interesting. So a lot of things have come from that I'd like to pursue. So that's what I mean. It's really like JFS has really given me the space with, there's like no ceiling, just be as creative and inventive as I can. And it's been really awesome to just start that process of talking with everybody.
So you mentioned a little bit the sort of challenges you're hearing about what families are facing. I'm kind of wondering, because, you're a mom of 4, right? So you're dealing with this personally as well as now professionally. Can you speak to a little bit more to, what are families going through right now that the Jewish community needs to be particularly attentive to, from both, what you're dealing with yourself and also what you're hearing from families in the community?
So another program I did also this weekend, my 2 first programs happened to be in the exact same weekend. It was quite a busy week. So I happen to wear another hat as the PTO president of the Jewish school. It's a K through 12 school, Hyman Brand Hebrew Academy. So I have 4 kids who are all there this year, and I'm really involved from a volunteer perspective there, and which is nice because also with Jewish Family Services, I get to be involved on a professional level as well. So one of the moving into town without family in town in the middle of a pandemic, even though I was really an advocate for getting involved, I still didn't know a lot of opportunities that there were for families and for students. For example, B'nai Tzedek, prize that I didn't know about that program. So I figured other parents also had no clue about that and all the other opportunities. So I put together a back to school fair. So this is where I had to change something. So typically the school had a popsicle pop-in. But in light of all the information I was hearing from parents saying that there's just so much to do, it's so chaotic getting multiple kids ready for school, to have more things to come to programs that they had to go to school for, it was just too much. So because I am the president of the PTO, I have so much power of these things. So I was able to cancel the popsicle pop-in, which wasn't such a fan favorite, but I think everyone was really relieved that we kind of consolidated all the going back to school to the one day. And in that one day, I was able to provide a community table with everything that you could get involved with. And I had so much nachas, from watching all these families come and peruse all the material that I had really worked really hard to collect. And it was so awesome to see oh, wow, I didn't know about this. Oh, my daughter would love that. It was just great because being the only K through 12 Jewish school in Kansas City, centralizing all that information and getting parents connected and involved, I just felt really good that I had worked on that. So that was a proud moment. I had 2 proud moments this weekend.
And so you've got a sort of a background in rallying the Jewish community, with you founding the Jewish Students for Change movement and being heavily involved in, as you said, Jewish parent-teacher associations. What have you sort of learned from those experiences that you bring to your role at JFS?
Yes, thank you. So I do have a lot of background. I really think I'm addicted to leadership, it seems. But so what I really love about JFS is that they're okay with trying new things. And that's been my biggest challenge. And the biggest thing I've taken away from is that methodology or that mindset of, oh, well, this is how it's always been done. And I just don't believe in that. I feel like if someone says to me, this is how it's always been done, I'm like, okay, thank God. You just gave me a license to now do something new. So that is just one of my belief system, I guess. I always like to go somewhere and make a positive impact or leave it in better shape than it was when I arrived. So I like to hope that I do that with the changes that I try to make. But we're just starting off. So ask me again in 5 years.
And so you're also, in the midst of all this, the co-chair of the New Families Committee for PJ Library in Kansas City. Tell us a little about what's that like. What that's like.
So it was really interesting. So I knew that was sort of the first thing I did when I got to Kansas City, being a new family. It was a brand new committee. And it was really interesting to see that there were over 100 kids that had signed up during like a year and a half span, like during the pandemic, that had signed up for PJ Library books. And a lot of them are brand new to Kansas City. And I'm just like, wow, like you really don't realize how many new Jewish families or families who are raising Jewish kids have come to Kansas City. And I just thought that was really cool. So I stuck with that and just this summer co-chaired the pool party, which was really the first time that I had in person met so many people that I had Zoom meetings with like for the past year. And that was really great to just sort of, it almost was like, oh, this is a reality. I did move to Kansas City and all these people are real. And now we're at a party together. So it was really nice to be part of that. And I just think that it is a really important committee because, especially what came from the community survey, don't quote me on statistics, but I'll give you a ballpark. There is a very large, greater than majority of families who feel disconnected to the Jewish community. So PJ Library in particular, I think is a great, it's more, hey, who wants to rally together around books and community? And so I think that's a great sort of low barrier entry point to being more connected to the Jewish community. And I'm hoping to do things like that also with some of my JFS programming. That is just kind of fun. You want to go, you'll get a little bit of education from coming, but that's not like a lecture type, sitting down and feeling like it's a chore to go. So that is my goals, to connect people and make it fun in the process.
For listeners, a couple of months ago when the population study first came out, we did do an episode with Dr. Matt Boxer, who led these studies of the area. If you are interested and want to go check that out to hear a little bit more about the very fascinating results of the population study in Kansas City. So the last question I have for you, Jodi, is what's your favorite part of the Kansas City Jewish community?
That is quite easy. And that was one of the biggest reasons why we moved here. And that is really, it's really hard to find a community that is genuinely united. You have every denomination represented. Everyone collaborates well, is respectful of each other's traditions and opinions. And I really feel that that is a testament to our community school because everyone's kind of does everything together. We're respectful of where each other lies in their relationship to Judaism, but we all get along really well. So that has stayed true in my original opinion of Kansas City. And I'm really proud of that. And I'm really proud to be able to be in a position where I can promote that even more.
The Getting to Know Jew podcast is a product of the Kansas City Jewish Chronicle and the Jewish Federation of Greater Kansas City. It is part of the Jewfolk Podcast Network and produced by Jewfolk Inc. Please rate, review, subscribe, and share. If you have suggestions for future guests, please email the show at webmaster@jewishkc.org.